Tonight on Q2, it was a busy beginning to Small Business Saturday in Billings.
Do I really need to buy that? Well, it's beautiful, it's unique, why not? It's supporting somebody local, yes.
From handmade soap to woven baskets, check out the local flavor that the Magic City has to offer. And one local family is continuing an indigenous tradition.
Together, it's becomes a lot of times extended family.
Find out why this powwow means so much to them. But first,
coming up, an apartment fire turned deadly. Why neighbors say they had no idea.
Your MTN News starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday. I'm Alina Hauter. Billings police have confirmed one person was killed in an apartment fire after officers responded to a call in central Billings earlier this morning. Our Marcus Kakova has more.
The apartment just behind me here is the scene of an overnight fire, one that neighbors say could have nearly gone unnoticed.
I didn't even see any smoke or anything. I just saw, looked across the street and saw all the emergency vehicles.
That seems to be the story on the 700 block of 12th Street West between Broadwater and Wyoming Avenues, where blackened windows are all that remain as evidence of the overnight fire. Martin Lorenzo lives in the building next door. He says he awoke when police say emergency responders arrived.
I seen lights and I got up to use the restroom about 12:30, and I just peeked out the shades and I saw a lot of fire truck and a lot of police cars.
Those who live in the building said off camera that they woke to banging noises and hallways full of what smelled like cigar smoke. Tara Watkins lives in the building just behind the scene of the fire.
We didn't see any flames or any smoke, so nothing. The only thing we did see was the fire trucks.
Police are confirming the fire was fatal, killing one person. Though details are scarce about the victim at this time, neighbors who spoke to MTN off camera say the person known to live in the unit that caught fire was an older woman, thought to be in her 60s or 70s.
That is scary. I have a son, so just knowing that it was something like that going on and then someone, of course, passing is scary.
Police say they're awaiting an autopsy report to confirm any further details. Marcus Kakova, MTN News.
And good Saturday evening, everyone. Taking a look at our satellite and radar composite for the last evening of November. It hasn't really changed very much compared to yesterday. We have a ridge of high pressure out to our west, a lot of northwesterly flow, some clouds, but unfortunately no rain or snow to show for it. And the temperatures, although they rose today, they didn't rise much more than to seasonable levels, but it was a fairly seasonable final day of November for the Magic City. Had a low this morning that was a little bit chilly, down to 20 degrees, but slightly overachieved with that high of 41. Lots of clouds, not too much wind force. We had some breezes, but there's more wind coming. Our forecast for the first week of December coming up in a few minutes.
Now, Small Business Saturday is no small potatoes on the national level. There are currently 33.2 million small businesses operating in the U.S. Those small businesses have generated 12.9 million new jobs over the last 25 years. According to the Small Business Administration, during the 2023 Small Business Saturday, the reported projected spending in the U.S. was around $17 billion. And since it started in 2010, Small Business Saturday reports $201 billion in spending. And if you didn't know, here in Montana, small businesses actually employ 65% of the private workforce. Black Friday is one of those busy shopping days of the year, but if you're part of a small business, you're looking forward to the next day, and that's Small Business Saturday, a day that encourages communities to seek out and support local. Frey Goods held a pop-up downtown to help shoppers find those perfect personalized Christmas gifts. Our Isabel Spartz has the story.
Then would you like a receipt at all? No, that's okay. Thank you so much.
For a small business, every order matters.
Honestly, every time I get an order on my website, I get so excited. I really do. I'm like, yes, I got an order.
Macy Lawson's new business adventure, Charmed, specializes in jewelry.
It's been cool to see the support from the community and everyone telling me, like, that's such a fun, cool idea.
For her, any opportunity to sell is huge, which is why she participated in Frey Everyday Goods downtown pop-up on Small Business Saturday, held on the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Events like this definitely are encouraging that people continue to show up and support your business through different times of economic turmoil.
In her store, Tiffany Miller sells goods with sustainable packaging like soaps and toothpaste, but also uses her space as a way to support other small businesses.
It just made sense for us to kind of collaborate with some of our vendors to really celebrate Small Business Saturday, and hopefully everyone can kind of capitalize on the energy with that.
This particular event has exposed me to local vendors, local artisans, which I prefer to buy from them for Christmas gifts.
Frey Goods will move into downtown next year, but wanted a way to test the area and put their name out further.
Exposure is everything for small business, right? You're kind of dead in the water if people don't know about you.
Well, we get exposure to people that come in and see us. They take our cards and stuff. So it's important to do this.
On days like Saturday, shoppers not only find unique handmade gifts, but also support their local community.
This helps me to know that I'm giving back. The money stays here in the community, which I believe is very important. You may pay a little bit more. I don't think it's that much more than shopping online.
For vendors, it's a chance to connect with customers and build relationships.
It's like panning for gold, right? You never know when you're going to hit the mother lode, right?
And every sale is an encouragement to keep going.
Word of mouth is everything, and just getting your name out there to boost your business. And if people talk about you, they'll eventually, like, someone's gonna buy from you.
Do I really need to buy that? Well, it's beautiful, it's unique, why not? It's supporting somebody local, yes.
In Billings, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.
The second annual Billings powwow at Metro Park is happening all day, and for the local family that started this tradition, it's a lot more than just dance. Our Matt Carmack met with the Windy Boy family to learn more about why this event is so significant to them.
For the second year in a row, the Billings powwow has brought together Native American communities from all across the region. And this powwow in particular celebrates the circle of life and honors those that have been lost along the way.
There's lots of different ways people could look at it. People could look at it as a ceremony, some could look at it as a social gathering or a competition.
Native American Heritage Month in Billings ended with the powwow in remembrance of those who weren't alive to see it.
Just the camaraderie of the people and all of the dancers and singers that come together, you know, it's becomes a lot of times extended family.
Family, what the Billings powwow is all about. Created by the Windy Boy family, the powwow is in honor of two lost members, Alvin John J. Windy Boy and Marva Jean Windy Boy. Montana legislator Jonathan Windy Boy, the event's MC and member of the family, says every dance for the next 2 days is all about Alvin and Marva.
The feeling of loss is a part of the circle and the gathering, so it just makes sense, you know, for the family here to do this.
The 2024 Powwow Princess, Kyrie Windy Boy, remembered her family as she crowned the new 2025 princess on Saturday.
The whole reason my dad started this powwow because of my late grandma and uncle. And my uncle really wanted me to become the princess for it, to represent it.
And for those attendants who aren't part of the Windy Boy spirit, it was as enjoyable. Like for Sienna Wolfchild and Nakoa Red Star, who wanted to be a part of the friendly dance competitions.
I'm a women's traditional, and then I'll be wearing these dresses that I made, like with elk teeth and with like these shells.
The style of dance I do is the men's traditional. They're basically storytellers.
And if you missed Saturday's dances, don't worry, as the bright colors, bells, and familial warmth continues all Sunday too. In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Still to come on the MTN 530 News here on Q2. With the impending threat of President-elect Trump's tariffs, consumers are second-guessing whether they should purchase foreign goods. But one phone call has provided them with some ease. Find out more after the break.
Download. From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
With Thanksgiving in the rearview mirror and with Christmas just days away, consumers are busy hitting the malls and clicking the buy button and likely thinking hard about whether to buy foreign-made goods. Now, before President-elect Trump's threatened tariffs kick in, that threat seems to have eased a bit, at least when it comes to Mexico, after a one-on-one phone call between Trump and Mexico's president. Scripps News national correspondent Andrew Rafferty has the latest.
With Thanksgiving now in the rear view, consumers are busy hitting the malls and clicking the buy button and likely thinking hard about whether to buy foreign goods before President-elect Trump's threatened tariffs kick in. That threat seems to have eased a bit, at least when it comes to Mexico, after a one-on-one phone call between Trump and Mexico's president. Tariffs are effectively a tax paid on imported goods, with the extra costs passed on to U.S. consumers. If President-elect Trump goes ahead with his threats to slap a 25% tariff on goods from Mexico, everything from avocados to tequila would go up. But the biggest impact would be on the price of cars, since more than 40% of U.S. car parts are made in Mexico, according to the Commerce Department, and 15% are assembled there. Trump re-upped a campaign promise to use tariffs to pressure Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum to cut off the flow of migrants and crack down on cartels sending fentanyl to the U.S.
I'm going to inform her on day one or sooner that if they don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country, I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America.
A recent phone call between the leaders underscored tensions between the two countries after the pair gave differing accounts of their conversation about migration and the border. Sheinbaum downplayed those differences to reporters, saying their countries will have, quote, a good relationship, and there will not be a potential tariff war. President Biden, meanwhile, joining a chorus of lawmakers and economists, urging Trump to back down.
I hope he rethinks it. I think it's a counterproductive thing to do.
Now, if the leaders can't work it out before Trump takes office, the tariffs could affect nearly $300 billion in trade and cost American families well over $1,000 a year in higher prices. Andrew Rafferty, Scripps News, Washington.
Well, Jason, you gearing up for that Grizz game?
Yes, it's only a few hours away now. The Grizz, they're welcoming in Tennessee State. The Tigers are coming up from Nashville. It's going to be a little bit cooler in Missoula than it would be in Nashville. I'll have your forecast for the game, as well as the next 7 days, the first 7 days of December, right after this.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with meteorologist Jason Stiff.
And good Saturday evening once again, everyone. Taking a live look outside on our Stockman Bank camera. Looks like midnight, but it's actually 6 hours from midnight right now. Just about 6 p.m. We're just about as mild as it were for the daytime high today, and almost where we're supposed to be exactly. Had a high today of 41, right now 39 degrees. A lot of clouds outside, some light breezes west at 12 miles an hour. Should keep the temperature a little bit milder tomorrow morning, but this morning it was chilly. Dropped down to the lower 20s. It was far colder in northeastern Montana with mainly single-digit overnight lows. Elsewhere, it was a little bit more seasonable, but the highs today were also quite cold in the north, mainly between 10 and 15 degrees around Wolf Point, Sydney, and Glasgow. Had the highs in the lower 40s for Livingston, Billings, Sheridan, and also Cody, Wyoming. So currently mostly upper 30s around Livingston and Cody, also upper 30s for Billings, but upper 20s with a clearer sky over Sheridan, and still hanging right around 10 to 15 degrees for much of northeastern Montana. We still had plenty of gusts to wind around the Livingston area, and it continues to blow, gusting at 38 miles an hour right now, sustained at 31, also 38 mile an hour gusts in Cut Bank. We had some higher gusts right along the divide, as you can see, 41 mile an hour gusts around Cut Bank, up to 46 miles an hour our Livingston. And unfortunately, that's going to be the trend going forward. More windy days than wet and snowy days as we head through the first week of December. Now, I wanted to show you this just because it's so odd for the final day of November to have no advisories, watches, or warnings for anyone. I wish we had some rain, and I wish we had some snow to talk about right now or in the immediate future, but that's not the way Mother Nature is going to be delivering its weather for the first week of December. So we have this northwesterly flow, ridge of high pressure well to our west, but that northwest flow is not going to give us any big storms, not enough moisture to give us any real large amounts of snow or rain. And unfortunately, we're going to actually have more wind than anything else. Some beautiful weather on Monday, and the temperatures are going to start to warm up under this ridge of high pressure. Just not a good chance to escape both the wind and the dry weather. Going to have to deal with at least the wind going forward. Stronger wind and a little bit more warmth for this time of year on Tuesday, and we'll still have more sunshine than cloud cover for Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, but again, not a great chance for any large scale rain or snow in our forecast. Looking at one of our 7-day forecast models, you can see the water equivalent all the way through next Saturday, the first week of December. Most places at or below 0.05 of an inch of water equivalent. Then you look at the amounts of snow we're expecting, and we're not expecting very much, especially over the mountains. You should have some for the first week of December, but just not going to be happening, mainly over the northeastern quarter of Montana, 1 to 2 inches if we're lucky. So here we have the football game in Missoula, playoff game with the Grizz against the Tennessee State Tigers. That kicks off in just over 2 hours. It's going to be a little bit chilly, as you expect, mainly in the 30s. For us tonight, we'll have a mixture of single digits and teens for the northeast and more 20s for the southwestern parts of our viewing area. Not as warm tomorrow, some cooler air moving our way, but a nice mixture of sunshine and cloud cover. We'll have daytime highs ranging from the teens in northeastern Montana to the 30s and 40s further to the south and west. For the next 7 days in Billings, we have unseasonably mild weather, especially once we get past Monday, expecting highs in the mid to upper 40s and lower 50s with some gusty wind.
Hey everyone, Kyle Hansen here at Washington Grizzlies Stadium, where we are just a couple of hours away from the first round of the FCS playoffs as the Montana Grizzlies get set to host the Tennessee State Tigers. Now, all week long we've talked about how these two teams haven't seen each other even once, so it'll be the first time they've met in each program's history. And for Tennessee State, they're in the playoffs for the first time in 11 years, and of course led by their head coach Eddie George, who was a Heisman Trophy winner back at Ohio State, and of course an NFL Pro Bowler as well. The Grizzlies, however, are coming in off of last week's loss to Montana State to finish the regular season 8-4, but Montana was still good enough to earn a seed, which was number 14. So because of that, they get to host the game here on Saturday night to begin their playoff quest. Montana looking to get back to Frisco, Texas for the second year in a row and back to the FCS National Championship game. Tennessee State brings a lot of athletes in and of course a lot of mojo as well, including on the defensive side of the ball, which is led by former Grizzly linebacker Brandon Fisher. The defense has led this team while Montana is looking to get their offense going, a unit that starred earlier in the season but has struggled in recent weeks, while the defense for the Grizzlies is looking to pick up where they left off over the last few weeks. And of course, the winner of this game has a date with two-time reigning FCS national champion South Dakota State next week in the second round of the FCS playoffs in Brookings, South Dakota. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Night games at Washington Grizzlies Stadium always are, and you never know what's going to happen. The game is at 8:15 p.m. on ESPN2 for everybody looking to watch, and of course we'll have all of your coverage across the Montana Television Network and on montanasports.com. That'll do it for me here at Washington Grizzlies Stadium. Reporting in Missoula, Kyle Hansen with MTN Sports.
Several MSUB student-athletes have their futures in limbo after the Yellow Jacket Athletic Department cut the men's soccer program back on November 19th.
A lot of my life was established here in Billings. I have a girlfriend here. A lot of my friends were going to be here again the next year, and my girlfriend doesn't finish school till next year, so I felt like I had a home in Billings, but I don't know if we still have that anymore with everyone having to leave now.
Now, Jack is in a special situation because he's finished up his playing eligibility, but most of his teammates are being forced to either quit the sport to stay in Billings or leave to continue playing.
As being a senior here with my little brother here as well, it was just kind of like, oh my gosh, how did we not know that we were in this situation? I work here, I coach here in the community I have previously, so it's just kind of like, I mean, you put your heart into an area and then it's just kind of ripped out and slipped under the rug, so.
I'm in a transfer pool and I know a lot of the boys are in there now. There's just some
some complications with a few of the guys that might only have 1 year left or need to stay here to graduate. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got redshirt freshmen who haven't played this year and still have 4 years to go, and they're basically back to where they were this time last year. Well, not even before this time last year, just trying to find a school to play at.
No notice was given to the players, and the program was cut just 3 days after the Jackets wrapped up the season, leaving many in the locker room speechless.
Just kind of one of those, you just have to move on, I guess. But it's really hard for a lot of us who have committed here, stayed here, been through the program, all the ups and downs, given so much money, given all this, to have no real answer for why.
They come out and they'd said exactly X, Y, and Z, this is what we need and we have to cut the program, then I'd still be angry and I'd still be shocked, but it would be hard to really be angry about that. But the fact that kind of as time goes on, I'm coming up with more questions than that have been answered for this. So
32 student athletes have been affected by cutting the program. Their futures still up in the air. In Billings, Alec Boffinger, MTN Sports.
Well, Jason, it's Small Biz Saturday. How was the weather for those shoppers?
It's a lot warmer than it could be this time of year. We know it could easily be way below zero. And as you can see in our 7-day forecast, that's the way it's going to be going forward. We're going to be warmer than average in Livingston. You expect gusty wind, but maybe not this many consecutive days of it. We have a lot of wind in the forecast, above average temperatures. If you're not a fan of really cold air, then you're really going to like the first 7 days of December. But we really need some rain and snow. It's just not in the forecast for us for both southern Montana and northern Wyoming. Same thing for the Billings area. Variable clouds on Sunday, the first day of December. Those highs will climb to the upper 40s and lower 50s, though, starting on Tuesday. Not really feeling like the final month of the year. And we're only 3 weeks away from the beginning of winter, too.
Ooh, but it's a chilly start to December.
Yes, a little bit chilly.
Just a little. Thanks, Jason. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure to tune in tonight for our 10 p.m. and have a wonderful weekend.